I'm Jason, UFC, and today we have a story about Charles Oliveira is injured and he is out. Alexander Volkanovski now in to rematch Islam Makhachev for the UFC lightweight title at UFC 294 next weekend. That's like, what, 10, 11 days from now? What? Islam Makhachev will be rematching a familiar foe at UFC 294, but not his originally scheduled opponent. The main event of the pay-per-view, 294 pay-per-view, taking place in Abu Dhabi was to be a lightweight title rematch between former UFC lightweight champion Charles Oliveira and current UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. However, Charles Oliveira has been forced out due to an injury, and UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski will now step in. The news was first reported by the Overdogs podcast. UFC CEO Dana White confirmed the news at the Dana White Contender Series 66 post-event news conference. According to Dana White, Charles Oliveira suffered an eyebrow laceration in sparring that required stitches. Wow. Did he not have like a head guard on or something? As a result of the change in the marquee bout, Islam Makhachev gets another rematch in Alexander Volkanovski. The pair first met at UFC 284 in February earlier this year in what was Volkanovski's bid for dual championship status. Islam Makhachev won the main event title fight by unanimous decision and has not fought since. Volkanovski returned to the UFC featherweight division for his next outing and defeated interim champion Yair Rodriguez by TKO in the third round of the title unification bout at UFC 290 a few months ago. Wow. So this is breaking news. That's the first fight that has fallen off this card. Hamza Chimaev versus Paulo Costa is still going on, even though Paulo Costa kind of just revealed that he had like surgery on his elbow or something like that. I don't know what's going. I think he said he had surgery 3 weeks ago or something like that. But I'm a MMA casual, so like I said, I don't follow every detail and every tweet from all things MMA. But this is kind of surprising, you know. I know it came out a few days ago that Justin Gaethje was gonna fight the winner, I believe. Right, like if Islam Makhachev wins, Justin Gaethje would get that fight. So I'm a little bit surprised that maybe he didn't. Like, was there a backup fighter for this? It seems like I don't think there was a backup fighter, right? The UFC sometimes has backup fighters for their events, unless Alexander Volkanovski was the backup fighter. But this is definitely surprising. I do want to say that when Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev fought earlier this year, I thought Alexander Volkanovski won that fight. It was in Alexander Volkanovski backyard, and Islam Makhachev still got the unanimous decision victory, but I thought Alexander Volkanovski won that fight. So this is kind of interesting. But yeah, it's sad to see my boy Charles Oliveira, a huge fan favorite. You know, earlier this year he fought Beneil Dariush, but he had to pull out for that fight like a month earlier, right? Like, or they had to move the fight back a month, I believe, right? Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. The fight was kind of canceled, and then it was rebooked because of some undisclosed injury for Charles Oliveira. But then Charles Oliveira ended up, TKOing Beneil Dariush in the first round of that fight. That's how he got the rematch versus Islam Makhachev. But this is tough to see that Charles Oliveira is injured with some kind of eyebrow laceration that needs stitches, and 10 days out. He will not be rematching Islam Makhachev. You would have to wonder if Islam Makhachev wins this fight. There's been talk about him and Kobe Covington recently. Like, those two are like throwing shots at each other. Islam Makhachev, I believe, says he wants Kobe Covington to win, right? So if Kobe Covington wins, Islam Makhachev wants to fight Kobe Covington. Right, you could see that fight happening if Kobe Covington win, because UFC just booked Beneil Bilal Muhammad versus Kamal Usman, right? So who knows what's going? There's so many moving parts there. You know, if Usman wins and Colby Covington wins, you would imagine Usman wants a rematch. But if Colby Covington wins and calls out Islam Makhachev, if Islam Makhachev defeats Alexander Volkanovski again, you know, you can see that fight happen. I would not be surprised to see Colby Covington versus Islam Makhachev. But this is going to be a tough fight. I thought they said something about Alexander Volkanovski having surgery on his arm, on his elbow, or something like that. Kind of microsurgery after the fight versus Yair Rodriguez. But I guess he's ready and he's prepared. This is not going to be an easy fight for Alexander Volkanovski on 10 days notice. Like, I don't know how much he was training, how much was he in camp for this. So it's very surprising to see that. But like I said, I'm an MMA casual, but I did believe that the fight that I saw versus at UFC 284, I thought Alexander Volkanovski did enough to win versus Islam Makhachev, but Islam Makhachev won a unanimous decision victory. But let me know your opinion of this story. I am a huge Charles Oliveira fan. He has a great story. He's just a great fighter. Like, you watch a Charles Oliveira fight, it's super exciting. That kid goes for finishes. Like, super exciting. Sad news. Who knows what happens with him now, right? Like, if Islam Makhachev wins, it's going to be really, really difficult to book another Charles Oliveira fight versus Islam Makhachev, right? But we'll see what happens in 10 days. We'll see how fight ready for 5 rounds is Alexander Volkanovski on this 10 days notice, right? Like, he basically just has to fly to Abu Dhabi now, right? Like, he doesn't have months or weeks to really, really prepare for this fight. But we'll see. You know, he's atop of the pound for pound rankings. So, you know, Volkanovski is definitely about that life. But let me know your opinion of this story. I'm sad to see Oliveira out of this fight, you know. But let me know your opinion of this story. Who do you think is going to win this rematch between UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev? I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about Charles Oliveira is out, injured, with some kind of eyebrow laceration. Alexander Volkanovski, UFC featherweight champion, will rematch Islam Makhachev for the UFC lightweight championship at UFC 294. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.